Star Wars Outlaws was just released a month ago, and it came under heavy controversy for its poorly designed stealth mechanics, lackluster story, and its endless amounts of bugs. When I first saw the compilations of glitches in gameplay, my jaw dropped at how terrible it was. A game that was hyped as quadruple A gaming has become one of the worst Star Wars games ever made. Of course, having barely any storyline and an awful gameplay experience is a recipe for failure. Who could have guessed that one? Its early launch trailer was dislike bombed into the ground with over 12,000 dislikes, and reading some of the comments from this trailer really shows just how screwed this game was destined to become. One person saying, "As a hardcore Star Wars fan, I would even pay money to not own this." And I think now after release that Outlaws has to be the second worst performing title for Ubisoft just after the travesty that was Skull and Bones. Outlaws just didn't resonate with me and a lot of people or even Star Wars fans. It was an unpolished mess that left our expectations in the mud and a sour taste in our mouths. And Ubisoft had absolutely no problem with shipping out the slop and charging players an exorbitant amount of money. They especially took a large dookie on early access players when they reset all players' progress to fix some insane game-breaking bugs. Just all of that juicy, early access progress being wiped clean, the progress that those players paid the extra 40 big boys for. Imagine taking money from your player base so they can get the game early and then telling them it was pointless. Truly a lack of care for the players as well as an egregious theft of time and money. And now, Ubisoft wants us to believe they've changed. They've turned over a new leaf. They've been listening to player feedback and now have a plan of action to fix the game. They really want us to believe that they know what to do to improve Outslop. So they released this roadmap to show players just how transparent and honest they're going to be going forward. It details the next 3 updates coming up to the game as well as what players can expect in those changes. The first being to fix the endless amounts of bugs that the game has been plagued with since release. The bugs that should have never been in the game to begin with, like being able to fall under the map. And then the next big update will bring quality of life improvements, whatever that's supposed to mean. Maybe they want to give early access players another trinket to compensate for resetting their progress again. Who knows? With Ubisoft, you can't really expect them to bring too much to the table. But the third and last update will roll out the first DLC as well as fixes to the combat and stealth system. Dubbed the Wildcard DLC, this expansion will be free for all players as another apology letter from Ubisoft, which is surprising considering how much they love to milk their players. And the fixes to the stealth are much needed. I seriously can't believe they have AI that's so dumb, you simply disappear whenever you go out of sight. This is completely unacceptable. I really don't think these changes are going to affect the course of the game or Ubisoft as a company, and I am definitely not alone in thinking these changes won't do anything to change the sentiment for the game. One user retweeted the announcement saying, "This game is dead, and no one cares." And another user would also critique the changes saying, "What about the ugly characters and enabling actual outlaw behavior?" And I have to agree with both of those statements. I don't understand how Ubisoft thinks players will want to return after its terrible release. I think most people have moved on to bigger and better games like Warhammer 40k, Astrobot, and Black Myth Wukong. I really don't think little Timmy wants to be an outlaw anymore this Christmas. I think he's going to be fighting for the Emperor instead. As for the part about actually being able to commit criminal behavior, it seems like Ubisoft is also taking a backseat in that department, and I'm not surprised. I told you guys at the beginning of this video that Ubisoft really wants us to believe that they've changed and listened to the players' feedback. I would argue that Ubisoft is lying and doesn't give a single solitary fuck about their players. Just recently, a Ubisoft developer put out a statement mocking the criticism coming from players and how Ubisoft approaches their fans. At a high level, they rarely talk about it. At a project level, they brush it off as toxic gamer talk. Wow, that's all they think of the critique so far. It's just toxic gamer talk. So the developers definitely do not care about this game at all. The whole point of the roadmap is to mislead gamers. They just want to do whatever they can to say the game is improving to try to entice a new round of people to give it a chance. And I really don't think this game or Ubisoft for a fact deserves that chance because these updates are nothing more than appeasals. They think their hollow words will get people to pick up the game during the holidays, but all they are really doing is telling the people what they think they want them to hear. I can clearly see through this. Ubisoft is just trying to ride the wave of controversy and hope they can weather this storm. There's just no possible way Ubisoft can continue putting out games like this that perform terribly. All I can do now is hope that one of the executives opens their eyes and realizes how bad it is before the entire company is brought down to its knees. Well, that's all I have for today's video. If you guys have any questions or comments about the topics discussed, please leave them in the comments below. I really appreciate you for making it to the end of the video, and as always, have a good one.